So we've got this very real-world show of the dysfunction and the problem. The Voice, as it's being proposed, well, you've got a Labor MP, Marion Scrimgeour, the member for Lingiari, saying people can't have a view. They don't have a view of that right now because they're living in fear in Alice Springs. That was her take on it. She supports the Voice, but says that this crisis has to be dealt with as at least in the very immediate term, Andrew.
And interestingly, she was on travelling with the PM on his plane. We've been briefed, so she would have ample opportunity to speak to the PM about the problem. And I guess what she says makes sense. I mean, even from Anthony Albanese's point of view, Kieran, he won't be able to communicate properly about the Voice until he's seen to have acted on this problem. So you can see where it's all heading. And here was Brendan O'Connor, though. He was the Skills Minister. He is the Skills Minister, should I say, and he is on with you shortly. We'll play this interview shortly, saying that the Voice can help fix these sorts of problems once it's established. That's why we need it.
The Voice is required more now than ever because we've had decades and decades of failure when it comes to public policy in response to Indigenous matters.
You have to say the last few days on this issue, Opposition Leader Peter Dutton has landed a few blows. He looks like a major stumbling block for the Prime Minister to this Voice referendum getting up, should I say, and how he goes will be critical, you would think, because if he was to continue to raise these issues and seem somehow anti-Voice in all the months on the way to the referendum, much harder to see it succeeding. Big stakes here for both leaders. Here's just an example of what Peter Dutton's been saying. He's in Alice Springs too, incidentally, having a visit at the moment. This is what he's been saying over the last couple of days.
I think people want to know how it will work in Alice Springs at the moment. There's a national tragedy that's unfolding, and how will the Voice help improve the lives of those young kids in Alice Springs?
He should provide the resources to supplement what the Northern Territory government needs on the ground so that these kids can just lead a normal life like we would expect of our kids in capital cities. I think there are a lot of Indigenous leaders really who are shaking their head in bewilderment at the Prime Minister at the moment because he won't provide the detail. Everybody wants to see a better outcome for Indigenous Australians. Those kids who are in Alice Springs committing crime at the moment, in many cases because the environment at home is not safe to go back to. But the Prime Minister's proposed this change to our Constitution, the most important document we have in our country, and he's not willing to provide any of the details.
If there is a strong Indigenous voice coming out of the Northern Territory at the moment that they want the Prime Minister to lead, to act and to help them out, but the Prime Minister is not listening to that voice, then I think most Australians would say, well, why not? I mean, what's his reason for not providing that support and that leadership?
So Peter Dutton's there, so is Anthony Albanese. He's arrived a short time ago. Here's an image from The Australian of the Prime Minister arriving. He's got some critical meetings there. He's from his VIP plane and he'll travel back to Canberra this evening. I've got to say Peter Dutton's position is interesting. He's saying he's not necessarily opposing the Voice, but he's continuing to thrash out, we don't have enough detail, what is this really all about? It sounds like opposition, but here's my chance for my first Yes Minister clip of the year, Kieran, which shows you that often in politics and government, they have a look to the last moment and see where it's heading, see who's going to win effectively and make a decision. Many in the Liberal Party think Peter Dutton might go this way. We'll see.
If there were a conflict of interests, which side of the civil service really on?
The winning side, Prime Minister.